Some piggy.
काले रंग दा परांदा मेरे सजना ले आंदा नी मैं चुम चुम रख दी फिरा मैं पप्पा बाहर नचदी फिरा मैं पप्पा बाहर नचदी फिरा मैं पप्पा बाहर खुशी विच नच्चा मेरे नाल पईयां नचदियां कन्ना विच पाईयां होईयां वालियां कन्ना विच पाईयां होईयां वालियां नी मैं कुछ चकदी फिरा मैं पप्पा काले रंग दा परांदा सजना ले आंदा चुम नी मैं चुम रख दी फिरा मैं पप्पा बाहर नचदी फिरा मैं पप्पा बाहर नचदी फिरा
हर रंग, हर सितारा, हर शहर, हर गांव हमारा। पाकिस्तान का नंबर 1 डेटा नेटवर्क Zong 4G, एक नया ख्वाब।
Bear Witness, the fastest growing university of Pakistan.
Ladies and gentlemen, as the slide says, welcome back. For those who are back, we seem to be missing quite a few people. I do realize it's been a long day, but really couldn't be that long a walk back from tea. So anyone who's entering now, could I please request you to settle down? We have 2 more sessions to go, and I'm quite sure no one wants to be here longer than they actually need to. Moving on with our session, after the whole I'm sorry doctrine's been done, our next speaker is a creative genius. Yasuharu Saski, or Yasu as he prefers to be called, is not only a creative genius, but he's a different sort of creative genius. He's got a very unlike creative director personality. He's a self-professed geek, and that's something I've never heard a creative director say about himself. He's highly accomplished and a major award winner. His list of major clients that he has made campaigns for includes names such as Coca-Cola, Google, Honda, Shiseido, and UNIQLO, to name a few. But his list of awards is even longer. Cannes Lions, D&AD, Spikes, AdFest, Clios, you name it, Yasu has them all. But perhaps the biggest thing about Yasu, which I think is a record breaker as creative directors go, is that in this incestuous industry of advertising, Yasu has spent 24 years with the same agency, Dentsu. I don't think there's a single agency owner here who can think about any of his people who've been there for that long. Ladies and gentlemen, Yasu today spends a lot of his time, his energy, his effort on leading digital teams. He is the digital creative head and executive creative director of Dentsu. Please welcome Yasuharu Saski.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. I am Yasuharu Saski, ECD and Head of Digital Creative at Dentsu Inc. Tokyo. It's a great honor to be here today. So thank you very much for inviting me to the great session, great conference here in the hall. Thank you. Thank you. So digital. So today I will talk about digital creative. I will not show digital advertising, but I will show digital creative cases. So digital has been water and air of our world today. So digital is a very powerful tool, not just only for advertising. So we should rethink what we can do for enhancing our society with our digital creativity. So I'd like to show a lot of cases today. So to begin with, I'd like to talk about what I call digital archaeology. It's been almost 2 decades since digital communication was born. So from internet, email, website, social media, mobile phone, YouTube, AI, a lot of things was invented. So we can see digital from the archaeological viewpoint. So in terms of digital archaeology, there are 3 types of digitarians: neo-digitarians, prehistoric digitarians, and non-digitarians. So neo-digitarians are people after the arrival of various digital platforms like smartphone, social media. So they are digital natives. And prehistoric digitarians were emerged before social media, smartphone, so they didn't have any convenient tool. And non-digitarians are still away from digital experience or digital technology, like we are both. So which do you belong to? So neo-digitarians have established ways with digital, and sometimes they see digital as a media for advertising. But prehistoric digitarians are always experimenting and thinking of unique way of using digital because they didn't have convenient social media tool, so they had to think about new ways of using digital. And non-digitarians are almost disappearing now. So we should not use digital only for advertising. So to enhance our society, we should think and act like prehistoric digitarians once again and use digital in a creative way and in an unexpected way to create a great solution. How we can enhance society? I want to introduce one of our case we made a few years ago. This is a small wrestling game using your voice. Why your voice? Please take a look.
As people get older, their throat function declines. It becomes more difficult to breathe and to swallow food. Choking is the leading cause of accidental death in the elderly. The best way to recover throat function is increased vocalization. However, rehabilitation for this is not fun at all. The elderly reluctantly use their voices. We therefore developed a fun method of rehabilitation in cooperation with occupational therapists. Ton Ton, voice sumo. We reinvented sumo, a sport popular with the elderly. The sumo ring vibrates with the player's voice as they say ton ton, meaning go go, which then moves the sumo wrestlers in this mechanism.
そういうところが一番びっくりしましたね。ぜひみんなに体験していただきたいなと思っています。
ご飯もよく食べられるようになったりとか、夢中になりました。
Ton Ton Voice Sumo allows the elderly a fun opportunity to raise their voices. It also contributes to increased communication across the entire care facility. Ton Ton Voice Sumo has been highly acclaimed, and numerous hospitals are now planning its implementation. We turned rehabilitation into refundabilitation. Ton Ton Voice Sumo.
Thank you. So as you see, this is not digital advertising, but together with digital creativity, we created a digital solution to solve healthcare issue. So using our creativity, we can create this kind of case and enhance society. We can enhance society. And together with toy company, our idea became a real toy product. And anyone can purchase this within $40 US, not so expensive. So we are advertising agency, but now we are kind of toy company to solve issues. Okay. If we can understand digital correctly and use technology in a relevant way, our creative solution can be very powerful. Our field of creativity can expand enormously. It's not just about creating advertising output, one-way output, but it can be experience, and it can be a change of a certain behavior, or it can be even way of life. So using our creativity with digital, we can create beyond advertising and create the change of the life. And let's see how industries are changing with digital. So as you know, a lot of companies are under digital transformation. So semiconductor company like Intel became data company. An FMCG company like Nike is not just making sneakers, but they are providing digital experience and product together to make people faster, healthier. So now they are not FMCG company, but they are now health support company. And car company. Car is not just a transportation tool, and car is connected, and car can provide a lot of different experience. So car company is now mobility service company. So a lot of companies are transforming, and they are providing not only product and service, but they are providing digital experience. So we should not use digital only for advertising, and brands need experiential ideas, our experiential ideas using digital. So in this digital age, our creative power works in all the areas of client business, not only for marketing, advertising, but in the product area, retail area, or service area. We can provide our creativity to brand and clients. And brand needs people who are like prehistoric digitalians and come up with a crazy new way of using digital. Brands need people who can design and invent lifestyle of the future, not just only marketing activities. And today, I'd like to show some of the examples we made about the enhancing creativity, enhancing society. The first case is creating solution about education. The first case is called Glee Code. Glico is a Japanese confectionery brand. And they created a program how to learn coding, programming with snack and sweets. So children can learn coding in a fun way. Please take a look.
All around the world, children are learning how to express themselves through code. But in Japan, programming classes won't be made mandatory in schools until 2020. Glico products have been making their way into lunchboxes for over 95 years, so let's turn each packet of Pocky, Bisco, and Almond Peak into bite-sized coding lessons. Glee Code is the world's first educational mobile app that uses advanced image recognition to turn real candy into code. Using physical objects helps children learn more intuitively, and by turning the treats they already love into a new visual language, they can now learn while they snack. Pointing Pocky to the right moves you right. A sideways Bisco is a long jump. And combining snacks allows you to build coding sequences that solve more complex problems. Each level is a lesson. Complete them all and you'll learn the 3 principles of algorithmic thinking: basic syntax, loops, and if statements. Glee Code generated huge buzz both in and outside of Japan and earned lots of praise on social media for being such a fun and easy way for children to learn how to program. Japan's Minister for Internal Affairs and Communications selected it to be part of a pilot program to teach coding at schools across Japan. Glee Code will be featured on millions of packets of Pocky throughout 2017. And following its national success, an international version is about to be released for the rest of the world to enjoy. Glee Code is now making its way into elementary schools, programming workshops, and living rooms all over Japan, and very soon, the world. By using the snacks kids already love, Glico is proving how fun learning to code can be.
So, thank you. Thank you very much. To make people like the brand, like the snack brand, advertising not enough. So we created this solution to make children happy, make parents happy, and make teachers happy. And next case is this one, Tasteful Words. We created this case to change the certain behavior of children, cyberbullying. So now, cyberbullying is a serious problem. And we created this solution. Actually, this solution didn't use any technology, but we made this with the creativity, with a deep understanding of digital culture. Please take a look.
Very, very stupid people.
The world is full of hateful words. For children, violent words have become threats on their lives due to suicides attributed to bullying. Presented by one of Japan's oldest publishing companies of children's books, Fawad Khan. An experiential book which introduces a new way of learning words through eating. Eating Education Book, Tasteful Words. A picture book that includes words made up of snacks. 7 words used by all generations were selected to be experienced through eating. The taste and texture express the feelings of those who receive those words. This book was created with the supervision of a linguist, educator, educational publisher, and pastry chef. Events took place at elementary schools and play areas where children gather. This campaign became a topic of conversation on numerous Japanese media and among influencers. Taste more, think more. Tasteful Words.
Thank you.
The recipe is now free to download for all schools in Japan.
So digital creativity is not just about using new technology, not using AI, but the important thing is to understand the culture of digital space, digital community. And the next case is to enhance business using digital creativity. So this is Tuna Scope project. Using AI technology, we try to help people working in fishery industry. Please take a look.
Tuna, one of the most precious marine resources. As the population continues to age in Tokyo, the number of tuna quality examiners has dwindled to half of its former number. Sojitz is a company that handles tuna on a global scale. We challenged ourselves to create something that would ensure a sustainable supply of high-quality tuna. Introducing Tuna Scope, a successor to the legacy of tuna inspection, AI that replicates the skill of experts. The key was in the fish's tail. In markets, examiners inspect the cross-section of the tail to determine quality. Everything you need to know about the fish is said to be contained in this vital part. But it takes these experts at least 10 years of training to attain this skill. We took photos of the vast numbers of tuna tails that Sojitz handles and passed it on to AI. The AI mastered all the unexplainable nuances of this skill in a mere month. After 2 years of development, we introduced the system to a tuna factory. Tuna Scope showed an accuracy level of 85%, as measured against experts with 35 years of experience. The tuna ranked highest by the AI were sold as AI tuna at sushi restaurants in Tokyo. Our goal is to collect data from tuna markets across the world and create a fair global standard of tuna quality. Our technology developed for Tuna Scope has untapped potential for applications across a wide variety of industries. Tuna Scope, an expert eye for AI.
Thank you. So I think we are advertising company, but now we have this IP and start to work with sushi restaurant and fish company to create a new market. So using digital creativity, we can enhance business and we can create a new market. And next case is creating a future of food. So this is Sushi Singularity Open Meals project. It might sound crazy, but we want to start a new data business using food and healthcare. So together with a lot of companies, we are designing a new food business. And hopefully, we will open a new sushi restaurant next year. Please take a look at this concept video. So as you know, data is very important in this digital age. But data is not just for marketing. And we are trying to create a kind of iTunes store of food. So now we are trying to digitize all the food in the world and save the data in the huge database. And we are creating a food 3D printer now. And then people can enjoy food according to their health data anywhere in the world. So data is important, but as I said, data is not just for marketing. Data is for new business and creating a new future. So we are an advertising agency, but we are now designing a future of food together with a lot of scientists and a lot of startup companies and technologists. And also, next cases are enhancing culture. So together with creativity and digital, If we can combine digital and creativity properly, we can design the new culture, content, and music. And this case is called Stradivarius Timeless Journey for the famous violins Stradivarius. To show the value of historical value and cultural value of Stradivarius, we utilize technology. Please take a look.
Reports of a blind sound test flooded the internet with rumors. Was the Stradivarius legend a myth? To protect the Stradivarius name, we needed to take action. Stradivarius, Timeless Journey. The true value of Stradivarius instruments lies in their 300-year history as living instruments. To demonstrate the evolution of the Stradivarius sound in the many different halls it has filled, we created a unique time travel installation. We recorded a Stradivarius playing works from various eras in an anechoic chamber. Then, based on drawings and architectural data, we created 3D models of historic halls and their acoustic environments. We combined the recordings with the acoustic models, binaurally processed the final output, and replicated the sound the halls would have produced. The result was a truly immersive storytelling experience that filled listeners with awe and wonder, generating a wave of positive comments on social media that dispelled negative internet rumors. Our journey with Stradivarius continues on.
Okay, thank you. To show the values of the music, Stradivarius, experience is the best way to tell the story. And the next case, the final case, is a Gould AI. We worked on together with Yamaha. We created the AI piano together with Yamaha. Please take a look.
Why do you think there is such an absolutely everlasting curiosity and interest in Glenn? I mean, I'd like to know that too.
Okay, so what we are doing is we are analyzing Glenn Gould's audio recordings to see how he interprets a given piece of music and try to teach to an AI system so that the AI could play in expressive style of Mr. Gould.
What are you doing?
I'm bringing Glenn Gould back to life. By analyzing raw data only, AI tends to create very bland performance. The machine learns better by having human teach. So this isn't just about analyzing archival recordings. This is about using human love for Glenn Gould to extract parts that makes his performance special.
Glenn Gould defined his own rules. Very bad, Glenn Gould.
ピアニストって定義ではない。
装飾音とかを入れる時もほんの少しなんですけど、こういう風にずらしたりとか、彼の考え方に少しでも近づけられるような、ちょっとでも分かるようなものが完成すると いいかなとは僕は思います。
Imagine we could have the Glenn Gould version of, say, 2019. Now you gotta make it happen.
I mean, the Russians called him an alien. And maybe he was.
He would call after midnight and he would talk endlessly.
One day we were sitting in a studio and he said, I want you to come with me and I want to go down to City Hall.
I was fascinated and very charmed.
Glenn wanted me to be his brother.
Well, I don't know what to say. It's a little overwhelming. It's wonderful in a way.
Thank you. So we are not just making automatic piano. It's not just about technology. It's not just about data, but human emotion. Emotions. Who love Glenn Gould created this AI piano. So we wanted to make people talk more about music and talk about Glenn Gould. So that's why we use AI technology. But important thing is human emotions. So accompanying human emotions, we can enhance culture and music. We believe we can do that. So let's wrap up. So purpose is now trending word in this industry. And digital creativity can provide strong experiences and actions to accomplish the purposes, establish the purposes. But however, purpose is not just about doing good things, not just about social goodness. The important thing is have a great vision, strong vision, and culturally relevant brand purpose, and relevant experiences to users. So let's see what kind of world brands are making. So there's a brand and users. And so far, if brand want to tell something, we use media and we make advertising. But as you know, young people stop watching TV now. So secondly, we started to connect directly with users using digital advertising. But as you know, young people don't like digital advertising. So what we can do? Here's a society in the future which brands and users are aspired for. So let's enhance society together. So some company says, we are changing society. We want to coexist with society. We want to save the earth. We are using eco-friendly materials. But people think, if the purpose is too far from them, is not relevant to users, people will think, why you are saving the earth? Why you are cleaning the environment? Why? Or people will think, it's okay, please do, but it's not my business. But actually, people want to participate in the society. It's difficult to go alone to the good society. So important thing is to design this part. Design something that brand and user can do together for enhancing society. So point is connecting brand, purpose, and culture in a relevant way, and provoke action together with users. And if users think it's relevant to me or sounds like fun, then user will participate with the action together with brand, and they will thank to the brand. So I'm calling this as a CSA, not CSR, not CSV, but CSA. It stands for creating sweet action for users. So this is social activations demonstrating relevant brand purpose that users can willingly take apart. So our team are always thinking of using technology and also thinking about the action which brand and user can do together, not just doing social goodness. So important things to become prehistoric digitarians again and use digital in free way, creative way, not using digital just for advertising, then we can have a strong vision. We can see a culturally relevant purpose, and we can design a unique action and experience. Because we are creative people, we can do more than advertising, and we can do design unique digital experience to enhance the society. So creative people, don't hesitate to go beyond the border of advertising and use digital in a creative way, an relevant way, an unexpected way, and let's design the better future and better society together. Thank you very much. Shukriya.
Bear witness, the fastest growing university of Pakistan. Be enthused to be a part of the largest ethnically diversified student community. We recognize there is more to learning than sitting in a classroom. You can learn not only through words on a paper, but with experience.
Thank you, Yasu, for that very, very interesting presentation. We now come to the end of the day. our last session, but like all marketeers and brands people tend to do, for our last session, we decided to bring in some real glam and celebrity power. What you will witness on stage is a conversation, a very candid conversation between two artists, very famous people, and people who have been and continue to be ambassadors for our brands. The conversation, however, is going to be a little bit different today. They are going to talk about a part of their lives that we don't see, their lives. The trials and tribulations of life that they go through, the demands on their work, their family time, and stardom. A lot of those things are what they will talk about, and how they deal with all of this and still at the end, get back into character and help marketeers like us sell products. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome veteran actor, CEO of her own cosmetic company and chairperson of FocusPK, dear friend of mine, the ever beautiful Atiqa Odho. Along with Pakistan's undisputed film and TV star, the heartthrob of millions of girls in Pakistan, India, and the respective diasporas all around the world, the, as I just discovered, fairly introverted Fawad Khan.
Hello.
Hi, good evening.
Assalamu alaikum. Should I start?
Yeah, please do start. I'm here because I have a lot of respect for Atiqa ji, and she told me about this, this occasion. So she's going to be basically leading the conversation. I'm just sitting here and nodding.
Thank you. So when I discovered that this conference was taking place, I sort of spoke to Seema, who's a very dear friend, and Sarmad, and I said, you know, when we talk about advertising, we always talk about the corporate sector, about brands, about product, about customer. How about the people that are put to work to endorse the brands? How about the actor and the celebrity that is always asked to come on board to help encourage a larger mass audience to sell the product or sell the idea? So maybe we should have a conversation between two actors and see how we feel about the process of advertising. And along the way, Fawad and I would like to share some of the challenges of celebrity that I think some of you would be interested in as well. And so Ad Asia committee agreed, and then I spoke to Fawad, and he was very gracious and understood where I was coming from and has been kind enough to make time for us today. I believe that Fawad Khan is one of the biggest stars Pakistan has produced to date. He has crossed borders and boundaries. He has made us proud wherever he's gone, has carried himself with great dignity, and has never forgotten that this is home. And so I felt that he was the best person to request to join me today and give a perspective on what it's like to be on this side of advertising, and what it's like to be actor, person, celebrity. And I'm here to facilitate you and to also share perhaps a more senior perspective, because I've been in this business 30 years now, and I've had the privilege of endorsing a lot of very high-end brands in Pakistan. So I've been part of the advertising fraternity as well. So Fawad, where would you like to start? Should we start with the first point we discussed, you know, who's the actor and who's the person in us?
Sure, sure. So an actor and a person, I think it's quite self-explanatory. They're two very different entities. but more often than not, they kind of overlap. Especially over the years, I think, as the entertainment industry has grown all over the world, there is more and more of an overlap, because a lot of the actors now make choices based on what they feel comfortable with. Earlier on, this was not the case. Either you were up for the gig or you were out of the game. But now I think actors have more and more, the person has more and more freedom when it comes to choosing the kind of roles that they take on. So the line is becoming a little more blurred in a way, and the entity is becoming one, whereas earlier they were two different entities. I am kind of for and against both sides because Jitna, now people are, coming under scrutiny and speculation and the kind of things that we do. We're now very wary of the choices that we make, because we now feel that entertainment is no more entertainment. It is more of social education, and therefore the kind of roles that we take on reflect the kind of people that we are. And that in itself is the price that you pay as the person who becomes an actor. That's what I feel. I don't know what you think about it.
I think you're right, because when I started in this business in the 90s, the environment was very different. I believe that now the younger generation has got a lot more challenges to face because of digital coming into our lives. There's a lot more access to us as people, our private lives. You can't go anywhere without a selfie being taken now. So I think that the actor and the person are both struggling, because earlier we used to go to a job and then we could very easily go back home and live a regular life. And then the other thing that from this also I would like to navigate towards is when it comes down to even endorsements, like as an artist, and I'd like to hear your perspective on it, because now what's happening is that in the selfie culture, it's like every person wants an endorsement with a selfie with Fawad Khan. And that's a certain kind of advertising too. It's like people are just coming and taking pictures so that they can actually be seen, or they can get more followers on Instagram or digital or whatever, because they have a picture with Fawad or Atiqa or whatever. So in a weird kind of way, we've started endorsing everyday life now. It's not just about brands anymore. It's really about, if you walk into a room, we're going to have to start taking pictures with everybody, and they're going to be using us as an endorsement, right?
You mean to say it's less about branding and more about co-branding now, because I think each and every individual in the audience themselves is a brand now. I kind of forgot to mention that I feel now that the conventional celebrity doesn't exist anymore. All of you are celebrities. Because with... Hold on to the clap. I don't think you want to applaud yourself for that one yet. Because with that comes there's a very different understanding of what a celebrity can do now. And that is a very dangerous tool. It can definitely change the outcomes in very different ways. So essentially, I think that everyone has become an actor, has become a celebrity. And when this is a phenomenon which is more of a 21st century phenomenon. Now brands associate with individuals rather than just one star who is worshipped by so many other people. So that in a way has given a voice, but also put a burden on the shoulders of everyone about what they say and how they associate with not just products out there, with ideas. So, yeah, all of you guys are actors, and I think, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but when you're on social media, do you feel that you live another personality? If any of you guys feel that, you can raise your hand. If you don't feel that, are you living another personality when you're on social media, when you're out there? So I think you, with the years to come, are going to feel more and more of that same pressure that I think we're going to discuss as we go along in the conversation, and that is a bit of a catch-22. That's what I feel.
It's a good point, because becoming famous or becoming public property it's a double-edged sword. You know, it's what brings you in more money, you get more endorsements, you get more advertisers wanting to hire you. But along with it, you also get a lot more pressure because there's so much responsibility involved. I don't know about you, but I have, in all the years that I've ever endorsed a product, been very particular about what I'm selling to the public because, you know, we always get all those sort of herbal drinks and housing schemes and all kinds of things. We're like, okay, tell me your credibility because I'm going to go out there and speak to millions of people and say, aap ye cheez khareedein, but I don't know what I'm selling. So I've always had like indemnity clauses and very stringent, very strict contracts when I endorse certain things because I'm very particular, and I'm sure you are, about not misleading our public because that is why you and I are hired. We're hired to tell the larger public that a particular drink or a particular house or a particular car will be really nice for them. And what if it doesn't turn out nice for them? I don't know.
Well, I sort of disagree with that because conventional products they're more of a choice of lifestyle. Always remember, and this is something that I've always stuck by, you know, and I stand by it as well. When you watch an advertisement and you make a choice, that's your personal choice. That's not anyone else's choice. So and this is where it has become a bit difficult because there's certain products out there in the market that a lot of people have a lot of debate about, that these are unethical products. The thing with that is that if you have an informed decision about it, that's your decision. That's not anyone else's decision. It does open up a very big debate as to what is right and what is wrong, but then the definition of right and wrong when it comes to conventional products or lifestyles is changing massively all over the world. So as a celebrity or as a person, you are celebrities as well, when you make a choice for a product, it is your choice. No one is forcing you. And that is what advertising is all about. It's just putting out information, and if it attracts you, you buy it. Yes, there are ethics of advertising involved, which are informed decisions when it comes to a product, whether, you know, sugar is good for you or it's bad for you. And now in this day and age of so much information online and from your doctors and everywhere else, you can make that informed decision for yourself, whether it is an everyday lifestyle or it's a luxury that you want to afford on the weekend. So I feel that as far as indemnity and as far as caution when it comes to products, conventional products, there shouldn't be so much pressure on any of you guys as to what you want to choose or adopt as your lifestyle. Because you feel that if you say these things or you present these things to other people who are watching you out there, are going to get influenced, it's their choice. You're not impressing it upon them. You're just informing them.
So how do you feel about where you are at this stage of your life? Let me ask you a very personal question, because I'm sure a lot of people are very interested in what you're doing and how you handle all this, like, because, you know, mashallah, you've done so well. And you're not just a huge celebrity within this country, you're a huge celebrity anywhere in the world because people recognize you everywhere. I mean, you've got huge Pakistani audience, Indian audience, Bangladeshi audience. I mean, anybody Urdu speaking, frankly. How does it feel? And do you miss just being invisible sometimes?
Well, I'm very invisible these days. I consider myself to be a bit of a recluse. Yes, there were 4 or 5 years in the middle when I was very seen, very everywhere. But I've always been a bit of a reclusive person. I enjoy my space, and this is what I consider entertainment as. If I do something, and if you like it, you go and watch it, you enjoy it, and you give me your appreciation, and I'm very thankful for it. But a lot of the times I feel that that's kind of what I do for a living, but that's not really my life. So that's why I just enjoy living it out in my
What happens when you go to your children's school for a PTA meeting?
Nothing.
It's easy?
I think, you see, the thing is, celebritydom or this whole aura of celebrities is something that has hit Pakistan not too long ago. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you guys feel that? It's made a resurgence recently in the past 15-20 years. पहले 80s, 90s में था, फिर थोड़ा सा decline आया, फिर industry फिर उठी, the industry resurfaced and then went back down again. So this, I feel, just going out there is something that's a bit new, and people are getting very accustomed to it very fast. So when I go to my children's school, I don't feel that kind of thing. Yes, at one point in time, it was very overwhelming. It was very in your face, but it's not like that anymore. I think they're beginning to treat you more like humans.
Well, I just watched you here today, and I disagree, because it's like, nobody leaves you for 5 seconds. So I think you're underselling yourself a little bit here. So what is it that you think should be happening in the world of advertising in Pakistan? How do you think that we should be, do you think that concepts should change? I always get this feeling, even when I'm like part of a brand and I'm endorsing a brand, I always feel that right now, advertising, creativity-wise and concept-wise, is kind of following the same archaic formula, sort of branding. I don't see a lot of very interesting, unique ideas out there. I did see a couple recently, like for instance, I would really like to say, for instance, there was the Lipton Chotu campaign, right?
Which one?
Lipton Chotu campaign about the children having, educate children. Children who are working in tea shops and as car mechanics. I mean, just take children off the streets. And so Lipton actually put their money where their mouth was and put the, this campaign out called Lipton Chotu, which was all about educating masses that, look, these children have a right to go to school and they have a right to an education. And I thought that was such a wonderful way of putting their money down on a social message that is so badly needed in Pakistan. Don't you think we need more of those sort of ideas out there in advertising in this country?
Well, the more you get, the better it is, but CSR, or corporate social responsibility, has been a very important part of advertising, and a lot of advertisers out there are very aware of it. Just another product from the top of my head is, I think, don't sue me for it if I get it wrong, whether it was multi-foam or was it diamond foam, but it was a mattress brand, Multifoam, right? Which had put up these day beds that just converted into beds, or then turned into billboards in the night in different locations, so homeless people could sleep on them. It's not. I think it's a step in the right direction. It's not the end solution, but I think a lot of brands do, participate in corporate social responsibilities. And as far as I've been associated with the advertising industry, for whatever number of years I've been active as an actor or as a brand ambassador, there is something or the other that some brand is doing. Like Pepsi did Liter of Light. It works on other CSR activities as well. So it's great that it's becoming more and more common. And like I said, the more, the better, but it has been there as a part of advertising culture.
Actually, it's a good thing you brought up Pepsi, because Battle of the Bands, good idea. I mean, encourage youngsters with talent to come out and put the money there. Coke Studio, very good idea. How you can encourage a byproduct, which is music industry, and co-brand with it, and so you get the endorsement, and the talent gets a platform. And I think we've been pretty successful with these sort of ideas or formulas, where the multinationals have actually gone in towards co-branding a certain trade. Because like Coke Studio is seen and heard all over the world, and I think Pakistan's Coke Studio has been phenomenal. It's huge. Everybody around the world listens to the music. Pepsi Battle of the Bands is completely different because it's all about emerging talent or new kids, which is also very required because we have a lot of children here who need platforms. So that's also another way for brands to actually help society grow rather than just doing cold sort of endorsements. I mean, I think that I feel the time where you just had a very nice-looking girl or a boy, off a swing and dancing around a tree and saying, have this drink is gone. I think, especially in a country like Pakistan, we need society to be engaged with real social issues and needs. How do you feel?
How do I feel about it? What? Badnaam. What do you want to know about Badnaam? It's a great band, yeah. Acha. You want me to talk about Badnaam, you're saying? As an example, you're saying? Yeah, there are a lot of emerging bands, and Pepsi Battle of the Bands, I believe, even our band, EP, started out in 2000 and, was it 4, 5, I believe? 4, yeah. And yeah, so this culture has been there. Pepsi, I'm sorry, I am a brand ambassador of Pepsi, so a little bit of disclaimer here. I'll be talking more about them, but that, not because I'm their brand ambassador, because I know more of their work. Pepsi, Top of the Pops, Top of the Pop, yeah, which is on BBC, and various, even in Coke has been doing it for so many years that we do get to see a lot of emerging talent, but more so now than before, and it's more accessible to everyone, which is one of the upsides of social media, which I'm not a very big fan of, but that's where you have to give the devil its due. It has given a lot of exposure to a lot of unexplored talent out there, and now brands are also jumping on that bandwagon, which is a great thing. It's the natural evolution. So yeah, I'm all for it. I think it's great. A lot of people get an opportunity to put out their talent and for the world to see, and I think that's the essence of communicating so massively all around the world, because that's the active exchange of ideas, the somewhat positive exchange of ideas that I look forward to. And yeah, a lot of brands are becoming a part of it.
How do you feel about brand placement within the television or film screen?
The more subtly done, the better.
Huh?
The more subtly done, the better.
But then the client doesn't like it. You see, the client's like, nay, you've got to hold this in your hand. I mean, then the celebrity also sort of has to have an opinion on this, right?
You see, the thing is that it depends on how willing you are to integrate that brand in the first place. Are you just wanting to take a financial advantage off of them? Because when you do that, then you're mixing two mediums which have a different purpose. The reason why I say subtle, when you present it as more as a norm or a way of life, for example, there's a billboard of a brand in the back, or just like a chai shop, and there's just a small print on the front of it, somewhere in the background. That for me is relatively more subtle than actually putting down tea bags right dead in front in the screen in your face, which is screaming out to the public that please, when you go outside and take a break, do come back with this tea. And that, I think, for me, is a bit more of a dishonest marriage. No offense to people who do that, it's their choice. But for me, I feel that the more subtle, the better. If you show it as something that we've grown up with, as a way of life, as certain things, certain items that you consume every day, and the way they are. I mean, like when you come out for breakfast in the morning.
So subtle placement.
Sorry? यार मुझे आवाज नहीं आ रही.
House full. Acha. So we're not being allowed to take questions, okay?
So maybe we can have a discussion afterwards because I can't hear you, right?
So basically, subtle placement is okay.
I feel, again, there's nothing right or wrong about it, but this is my opinion. And it seems more honest that way, to me.
What would you like to ask the advertising world sitting in front of you today? I wonder, I mean, I wonder what's going on with advertising in general, right?
I have a lot of very dear friends in advertising, and we exchange a lot of words off and on. So I don't know. I don't have any questions.
Do they hear you? Do they listen to what you have to say? Like,
it's becoming more. It's a more collaborative exercise now. I think it always was, but more so now, because I think there's a very speedy way of gauging the public response, and therefore they come back to you with it. They say this was great, or maybe this didn't work, and how can we sort of work on it? Because at the end of the day, the person in the advertisement kind of becomes the face of it, so they have to sell it the best they can. So it becomes a collaborative exercise. So I think there's an active discussion going on amongst creative individuals of the entertainment and advertising industry.
let's talk a little bit about craft. I'd like to know, where do you get your inspiration from? Or where do you get, you're in a moment, right? As an actor, like when you're in a moment and there's a particular thing you want to do a certain way. Where do you get the build-up to do a particular scene, whether it's romance, or it's emotion, or it's anger? What inspires you? What goes through your mind at the time when the director says, Acha ji, you have 5 minutes to prepare and then we'll be ready on set and please come and ye scene pad le aur ye kar le?
For me, I think it's more spontaneity. Because there's a lot of schools of acting out there, amongst which they say method acting, एक school of thought hai. The theater brings, English and American cinema have two distinct flavors, so does European cinema. And a lot of the times when you're growing up and you're getting to learn about these things, you get influenced by them. But when it comes to you yourself participating in it, I think for me over the years it's become more about spontaneity. David Mamet is a very well-known playwright, and I think in one of his books he mentions that all you need to do is just know your lines, have a good posture, and just deliver correctly. Have good, pronunciation, elocution. So the rest, everything takes care of it on its own. And as the years go by, maybe I'm becoming lazier, but I'm subscribing to that philosophy more and more.
I tend to take characters home sometimes. It took me a long time to learn to detach and not take that particular woman home. I remember I did a play called Nijat many years ago for Pakistan television. And it was so interesting because, I played a lower income woman with a lot of issues. It was basically a project that was funded by Johns Hopkins, and it was about family planning. And it was a very depressing character to play, and for the 2 months I was in her life and role and her skin, I used to come home so depressed, and I said, I've got to find a way not to carry her home. Has that ever happened to you?
Many a time. Do you ask yourself why you do that? Why do you do that to yourself?
I don't know, because I still tend to go into the person's life. When I get offered a role, I listen to the one line, then I read through a bit of the script, and then I ask certain questions like, what's her backstory? What are we trying to say here? What are we trying to tell society? Because see, drama and film is also another way of actually endorsing an idea within society. Pakistani drama is a huge and powerful tool everywhere in the world today. I think nobody can touch us as far as Pakistani Urdu-speaking drama is concerned. It's an indigenous product that we make and we sell to the world, and it depicts, it reflects, and it's a reflection of our society. So a lot of times when I'm offered a certain role, I'm like, what am I trying to say to women watching this or to people watching it? Am I trying to change a mindset? You know, I mean, we do know that theater in the olden times started off as a propagation sort of a tool. So when we say something on a small screen, big screen, stage, platform, it is kind of influencing people. So I used to start taking a lot of these characters home because to sign the character, I had to believe in her first.
Just a quick question there. Do you think it is right to be influencing people?
No.
You're projecting your morals on. I think this gentleman needs a separate session for himself.
Yeah. It's not that
let's have one for you after we're done. Yeah. You know, you can come up here and you can talk. I'll listen. I would love to.
It's not like one wants to influence people, but in a country where the literacy rate is still very low, you know, I've gone into like small rural areas where people can't read and write, but they watch television. And now even digital is very limited because how many people in the rural have computers? Or okay, maybe mobile phones. I think the outreach will increase when we have a lot more content in our hands. But even in the digital world, it's very limited when you go out of like the urban centers. So in a country where the literacy rate is really low, television drama is a great influencer. And I have a great issue, even personally, like I'm part of the problem of this Saas Bahu right now. You and I have been a part of this problem too, where we've done Humsafar. And in Humsafar, I mean, I was, you know, the Zalim Saas and you were the poor boy in the middle. And, you know, those stories I think need to start changing as well. We need to start to reflect a lot more ideas and drama, because those are influences as well that we bring into a society that still has a huge gap in literacy. And I think the advertisers sitting here, the corporate sector sitting here, should also start to sit on the table with other stakeholders like directors, writers, actors, and talk about how the influences should change through the mediums. What do you say?
Well, personally, I'm not for... It's a very dangerous thing I'm about to say. I'm not for influencing people. I think you have to develop your own ideas and come to a table where you can actually have a civil discourse. When you say influenced, like I say, it being an informed decision is a different thing. But when you're preaching a certain moral of the story or preaching the outcome of what is right, who the bad guy is, and what happens to the bad guy, it becomes a bit preachy. And it's a very fine line where you come across movies and dramas that actually talk about outcomes from the perspective of how they affect people's lives and leave the decision up to the audience of what it has done right or wrong to them. But when you actually set things up in a way where you want to preach your sense of morality to the audience, I feel that's where the approach becomes very dogmatic. And therefore, I just feel very jittery approaching such topics. Because that is a problem. That is a problem that we're facing, not just in Pakistan today, but all over the world. You're either on one side or the other side of the fence. There is no round table anymore. There's just this one big fence in the middle and you're talking across it. And therefore, it's either you're right or the other person is right. Either you're wrong or the other person is wrong. And it's no more about having a civil discourse. And that's the fine line where movies, dramas, anything, any visual medium, any audio medium, anything that projects a voice unidirectionally, that's the Achilles heel there. Because you can't hear what the other people have to say. You may not like it, but it's an opinion. And what you're projecting on screen is also an opinion. And that's why I feel you have to be that's why you have to be very careful in what you're saying and how you're saying it. And that's why I was talking to you about this, you know, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? You know, a lot of the time, the guilt that comes with the character that you play, it somehow becomes imbibed in you, you know, it becomes a part of you. And then to wash it off, it takes years and years and years. And then you realize after many years, oh, what I just thought was maybe not so right. And it's a different story altogether now. I'll give you an example. There are a lot of documentaries out there right now when it comes to nutrition. And they're talking about how you should adopt a certain lifestyle when it comes to food. Some documentaries suggest you should go on a completely carnivorous diet. And some documentaries suggest that you should go on to a whole food plant-based diet. What are the merits and demerits of it? You do not know. There are a couple of doctors on there who are endorsing it, but does it suit your lifestyle? That you're not informed about. And we being so gullible or susceptible or impressionable, we immediately just latch on to that idea because we want a better life. And that's just an example of documentaries. So I think as the future unrolls and unfolds itself, actors, directors, advertisers, everyone, I think, has that kind of a, you know, I don't want to put this responsibility on your shoulders because it's a choice at the end of the day, but needs to think about that more actively. Because the decision that you make or an idea that you want to propagate could just be completely against someone sitting right next to you. So if you want to put that idea out, put it out in a way that it becomes something that is food for thought and not a dogma.
So then there's a contradiction involved here as well, because when we talk about how we don't want to be influencers, but the advertising world wants us to influence, and our social responsibility side of us goes into conflict, doesn't it? I mean, how do we kind of balance that then if we're not trying to influence people or propagate people a certain way?
Sorry, again, what was the last part?
CSR, like, you know, for instance, if you want to pick up a social cause or you want to pick up something that helps society, then if we're not wanting to be influencers, then how do we actually figure out the divide between your social responsibility and what you do as a commercial venture? It's, you know, it's like a contradiction, right?
No, I think that kind of, like I said, when it comes to advertising, I feel that I mentioned earlier as well, that it's an informed decision that you're putting out there. You know, you like this flavor, you like this car, you like this color, pick it. Nowhere are they saying that this is the only thing you should get. It's if you want it, you know, we might have a solution for it. The ethics of advertising, I feel, are somewhere where it's a very tricky area, because if you want to inform the audience about it, about what you're selling, and what all it does good and what it does bad, you know, if it does anything bad, that information you don't relay in your advertisement, which is somewhat out there and now understood. You know, when I gave an example about overconsumption of sugar, people know. People know that. Nowhere are they saying, oh, this is, you know, this is just great for your health. And that's where I think the ethics of advertising count. And most of the advertising out there, I think, is fairly innocuous. I think it's fairly driven by consumer choice. You can choose what you want. You can buy what you want. That's what I feel.
So, you know, I'd like to share with you why I became an actor. And I'd like to ask why you chose to become an actor. I became an actor.
I chose because it paid well, frankly speaking.
Okay, so you chose
That's the
for
only
the
reason
money.
why I became an actor.
So at least you're honest. I actually became an actor by default. I was in the beauty business and I was offered something and I did it and I enjoyed it. And years later I realized I enjoy being an actor because for me it's like a self-help therapy session. It's like everything I can't say or do in real life, I can go in front of a camera and do. Like I could cry my heart out. I could scream my lungs off. I mean, it was just incredibly therapeutic. Do you ever feel like it's great therapy being an actor?
Yeah, I think you're in a more special position, a more entitled position of therapy, but I feel that's kind of what every profession is about, or not. You know, in every profession, you want to reach the top of the ladder. And as an actor, you also want to do the same. And in the process, whatever you do is somewhat of a catharsis. Sometimes you control yourselves. I don't know about you, but as an actor, a lot of the times, I'm like, okay, maybe here I have to draw the line. I have to listen to the other person and act according to that. It can't be just me. And that's why it's a collaborative exercise. And I feel, every profession, in a way, is a therapy and is an opportunity for everyone to basically step up and go up. And that's what the aspiration or the ambition of everyone is. In actors, you get rewarded for it much more quickly. And as far as the therapy angle is concerned, it can be therapeutic, but like I said, if you take on something that is, if it's more than you can chew, then it can have some really bad consequences. And we've seen that in a lot of actors, here, across the border, around the world, where it's just taken a bit of a bad turn. Maybe it was their personal depression, or maybe it was something that just triggered something inside them, that role. So, yeah, it's two ways, I feel. It's a double-edged sword. It can cut you, or it can cut whatever's bothering you.
So if a brand came to you and offered you loads and loads of money, but you didn't really believe in the product, would you say yes or no?
How much money? No, I feel, no, there is a line that you draw. I mean, maybe you guys don't want to believe me about that. That's your choice. Yes, but there are certain products, if for whatever reason, for whatever frame of mind I'm in at that time, I choose not to engage in it, no amount of money changes it. No realistic amount of money changes it.
So I'm different. I think I'm more emotionally driven than commercially. Like, I have a problem. I'm a bad money manager. And I'm like, no, nahi, mujhe aapke paise nahi chahiye. I don't believe in what you're selling here. So I need to change. I need to become a little more maybe with
yeah, because it's an industry now.
Yeah.
Entertainment is an industry. Yeah. It always has been.
I'm still stuck in old
school. The patron
is
paying you for it. So, yeah, you have to treat it like a business. Otherwise, if you want to become a Puritan and you just want to kick money all out of the entire equation, then yeah, that's the purest form of art, where you just put it out there and you expect nothing for it in return.
I don't think I've ever told you this. It's really sweet. I was in Bombay at a conference a few years back, and I think you were shooting Kapoor and Sons at the time. And I stopped. I was in the car and I was looking for directions. And I had the driver stop, and I rolled down my window. There were two ladies walking by, and I said, "Excuse me, I'm looking for a certain place. Can you please tell me where to go?" And they're like, "Aren't you Fawad Khan's mother?" And I'm like, "Gigi, yes, I'm Fawad Khan's mother. Can you give me the directions now?" I'm like, "Oh my God, my life is over completely." But that was so lovely. I was so happy to. You had such a huge following. I'm so proud of you as an actor, as a fellow artist, as a Pakistani. I really wish there were more like you in our country. I wish there was more. I think you really have vision, because it's not easy to, okay, fine, you get fame, you get success, you get a following, but to carry it as beautifully as Fawad has done, it's not easy. It really isn't. You have to give up so much of your own life and your privacy and your wife, your children, your husband, your family. It impacts everybody. My kids stopped going out with me a long time ago. They go, "Ammi, we're not going out." No, it is not worth it. We'll come home. You come to us. And if we do go somewhere, we'll book a private space so that we get privacy. So it changed my life and my family's life a lot. There was a lot of pressure. So hats off, because I can only imagine, and also hats off to Sadaf, by the way. People don't realize, and I don't think we give enough credit to our partners. My partner's sitting here, and he's like, "You're a diva." I'm like, "I'm not a diva, I'm a struggling diva. I still haven't figured out how to handle this. It's really difficult. I love my work, I love my craft. I love the fact it's given us respect and a way to live and, run our homes. But the lack of privacy part of it is so hard. The human side of it is so hard. And the expectations are so hard. I mean, what sort of expectations do you think people have from someone like you?
Partner or people you're talking about?
People in general. Partner has to just deal with it, right?
No, I think everyone has expectations. It's always a two-way street. Well,
because you're shy.
Because I'm not so much in touch. First of all, you know what? I'd like to thank you for such a wonderful compliment. There are many more, much more talented people. I'm not being humble. I'm being very honest. Than me in Pakistan, much more well-spoken. I think I'm a very ill-informed and disconnected person, and all that I'm saying right now is purely observational. And yes, I'm being a bit humble and modest. But thank you so much for that. And I would like to return the compliment by saying that, you know, the first time that Atiqa ji and I worked together was on this serial called Humsafar, years and years ago. And I had a bit of a fanboy moment. Not a bit. It lasted throughout the series. So much so that my co-star, Mahira, said, I think you've got more of a, you know, a romantic angle going on with your mother than you have with me, which is not true. It is pure admiration, and I'm pretty much awed by her. She's very well spoken. She has substance, and I owe it to people like that have encouraged this generation or my generation of actors to step into this industry, because it was a bit of a stigma earlier on, you know. Being an actor, you know, interesting enough, backstage she was saying that the time when she stepped into the industry, people would say, oh, so you're an actor. Well, what else do you do? Do you like work at the bank? Or do you have a business? And I can completely relate to that. I mean, she'll tell you better. But this happened to me once as well. It happened to me on, you know, outside this restaurant or parking area where someone came up and said, we really like your work. So what else do you do? You know? And I was like, no, this is all I do. No. What else do you do? Do you like work? And that kind of was a wake-up call for me. It sounded a bit insulting, you know? I was like, it pays me well. It pays my bills. I take care of my, you know, I try my best to take care of my responsibilities. And it is a 9 to 5. In fact, it's not a 9 to 5. It's more of a 9 to 9. Like you're working sometimes 24 hours a day. Obviously, it has its perks and it has its advantages. But I think we really owe it to this generation of actors who brought and who kind of built the industry or laid the foundation where it became more of a daily wages kind of a thing into a full-blown professional industry. And yeah, and that's the compliment I have for you.
Thank you.
I think it's because people like you.
I want to share here that, you know, I'm sure all of you remember that when you went to make your CNIC cards at Nadra or wherever you had to go 20 years ago, there was always these categories: engineer, doctor, lawyer. Huh? There was a beggar category also? Okay. So there were all these categories, but we didn't have producer, director, writer, actor. And we fought really hard as a community that, hang on, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a banker, I'm an actor. I need actor on my CNIC. And I'm so happy that I have lived to see that we have actor, director, producer, writer, everything on a CNIC today, which didn't exist. And so being able to be recognized and accepted as a working professional in the creative arts is, I think, something that we're very blessed to see in our lifetimes. And the next generation has to carry it through for the next generation, because I have children in the industry already. Yours are little, but eventually I'm sure they'll end up here as well. So giving back is also important, right? How do you think your generation can give back at this stage with all this digital and everything in front of us?
Giving back? I've not given back much, have I? I heard some people laughing there. Do you guys give back?
Is it just by going to work every day?
The silence says it all. None of these guys give back, so they shouldn't expect me to either. I feel, again, like I said, this is a natural progression for any industry, bless you, for any industry which has been there or been around for very long. For whatever reasons, we've had, sort of hiatuses, we've had these short spells of silence when it comes to the industry. It's been inconsistent, and it kept on falling down and getting back up again. Maybe this would have happened a long time ago, but it is happening, which I feel is the natural evolution or progress of any industry that's around there for long enough. And if it's profitable, if the sector is profitable. So, as far as giving back is concerned, my definition of giving back is a bit different. It's more about, if I were to give back, I would want to give back with getting to know you people better. I don't know if that's giving back, because if I get to know someone, my definition of them giving back is for them to be acknowledging what I'm saying and hearing them out. And I think that's the most important form of giving back. Yeah.
I think just being you is enough. I think just being you is enough.
No.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because I can just imagine how many hundreds and maybe thousands of boys, young boys out there want to become like Fawad Khan, right? And that's also role modeling. See, that's why I come back to our social responsibility. We don't understand what we are doing without wanting to influence people, how we are indirectly influencing people. Can you imagine how many kids out there want to become like you, seeing your success? So you've become an influencer, right?
It's not a bed of roses, trust me.
But anyway,
see, if there's one thing that I'd want to run away from, it's that. Don't think that anyone standing on the stage is always going to be saying the right thing. And I think as celebrities, that's the biggest burden on their shoulder. Even if you're here, that will be a burden on your shoulder. Whatever comes out of your mouth is taken quite literally or is taken quite seriously. And that's why I go back to earlier on, something that is, I feel, lacking all over the world is a roundtable discussion where everyone can exchange an idea. And when you exchange ideas, this responsibility that we're talking about is shared by everyone. And when it's shared by everyone, there's a more fruitful outcome. There's a better outcome. Often, I think we confuse the heroes or the heroines or the actors or the actresses that play certain roles on television or in film to be infallible. That's not true. That's just not true, because one role, you expect them to become that. After Humsafar, that's exactly what I was, literally, And I grew tired of it very fast, because everywhere it was like, Ji, Assalamu alaikum. Ji, wa alaikum assalam. I couldn't be myself. Maybe that's not the person I am. And that kind of influencing, I feel, in my opinion, is something we need to get rid of very fast. We need to know each other more as, the unadulterated versions of ourselves, rather than just propping up something for a nice selfie or an Instagram video or a tweet. Because that's not who you are. In most of the cases, that's not who you are. And I don't know about you, I don't know, but I feel that is somewhat dishonest. So when you open that floor up to people, to be able to have that conversation, that responsibility that you're talking about is shared, and you get more of a result much faster and a much shorter turnaround time, because every time the experiment might not be successful, but you can move on. Whereas when one person is treated like, given a godlike status for years and years and years, and everything that comes out of their mouths is like etched in stone, it takes a longer time to be like, oh, he may have said the wrong thing. He's only human. Let's turn around.
So I think it's been a good session. Are you happy?
What?
Are you happy?
With what?
With our session.
Well, I'm happy. I don't know if you guys are bored.
And I just would like to add that the reason why we have conducted the session in English is for our foreign friends that are visiting. Otherwise, Fawad and I would have conversed more in Urdu. And I'm saying that for the press that's in the hall today, because I don't want us to be criticized later कि सारी बात अंग्रेजी में कर दी, उर्दू में कुछ बोला नहीं, है ना? क्योंकि our prime language is Urdu, and that is our prime audience, is an Urdu-speaking audience around the world, which we are very proud of. So thank you all very much. I hope that we have shared some insight into our lives. I do hope that advertising looks at language as more of a global phenomena, because people like us sitting here who speak a certain language reach out to an Urdu-speaking audience all over the world and not just within Pakistan. So we're delighted to be here, and I am very proud and humbled that we were part of AdAsia, and well done the entire team of AdAsia for bringing it back to Pakistan. Sarmad, Javed Jabbar Saab, everybody. Thank you so much. I think it's a great contribution to this country, and we are always going to be around to support you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.